What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, I've gotten some reports and some sources that have reached out to me, and then I have done my own information and own research, and we have some unfortunate news, as it looks like Olympic two-time gold medalist, Cuban superstar, soon-to-be professional boxer, Andy Cruz, has been reportedly trying to make his way to the United States to make his pro debut, but is now I'm being told that Andy Cruz, who initially have been reported to have been en route to making his way to the States, and it was reported that he was in in Dominican Republic. It was reported that he could possibly be, a few places as he was trying to flee Cuba to come to the United States to make his pro debut and to build a better life, for his family and for himself. And it's being reported to me and told to me that he has been caught. This is unofficial, but we know that Detained, former welterweight world champion. We know that Robson Ramirez, he reportedly was trying to help him. These are guys from Cuba. He was trying to flee Cuba to make his way to the United States. And it looked like last week he was well on his way. The boxing world was buzzing, and it was exciting, right? Because he's, a major player. He beat Keyshawn Davis, who was a lightweight superstar title contender. He beat Keyshawn Davis 4 to 5 times in the amateurs and beat him for the Olympic gold medal. He also beat, a few other big names in the amateurs, and everybody's been anticipating and waiting to see, Andy Cruz come to the United States and make his pro debut. The anticipation is very high to see Andy Cruz and what he's going to be able to do. And it looks like that's going to be prolonged again. Detained reportedly, he had been trying to make his way to the States for a while. He was captured 4 times before he was able to make his way to the United States to become a professional. It was reported that Guillermo Rigondeaux, he was reported to be captured 1 time and trying to make his way to the United States to make his pro debut. And we know that Cuba slowly but surely is, they're making adjustments, because at one point in time, they had got rid of boxing in Cuba altogether, as far as being in the amateurs and in professional, and now it looks like they lifted that. They decided, they was going to make an adjustment to that. So Andy Cruz is 26 years of age, and the time is not on his side, period. He don't have time, right? 26 years of age in the sport of boxing. This is why you have a lot of confusion as to what age Cuban fighters are truly, for instance, Luis King Kong Ortiz. There's a lot of different speculations and reports, and different people believe different things as to how old Luis King Kong Ortiz actually is. Is he 40? Some people say he's 43. Some people say 45. Same goes for Guillermo Rigondeaux, right? Nobody truly knows that just how old they are. And this is due to, the situation that's unfortunate, that they have to be stuck, in their country and can't make their debuts until late in their careers. But they come from that Cuban school of boxing that is, arguably the greatest school of boxing in boxing, especially when it comes to a technical aspect of the sport of boxing. So again, I was excited to see, Andy Cruz make his debut as a professional, and look to see him fight the likes of Keyshawn Davis in the pros, fight the likes of, Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney and Gervonta Tank Davis. He's a major player, no doubt. Okay. He has, a special skill set. Comes from the Cuban school of boxing. He's rangy, his amateur background is, and his pedigree is very high, so, it was exciting at the moment, but this is unfortunate, that it's being reported that, he's been caught and is being detained now. And it's not official yet, but people close to the situation, sources close to the situation have told me that it's true that he's been caught. So I hope it's not true. I hope that, we get clarification very soon, and I hope that, he was on his way to a tournament, supposedly on his way to a tournament, and then en route to the tournament, he deflected. He went to a different direction in which, he was trying to flee and make his way to the United States. And this shouldn't have to be the case, right? It should just be freedom all the way around the board. If he wants to come to the United States and make a better living for himself, just like any other country, he shouldn't have to go through all of this just to come here to make a better living and be able to feed his family and, things of that nature. So it's truly, truly unfortunate if this to be the case, if this holds true to be the case. But sources that are very, very close to the situation have told me they believe it to be true, unfortunately. And again, for the sport of boxing, the more pieces on the chessboard, the better for the fans and the media and just the sport overall, especially when you have a talent like Andy Cruz, and it's unfortunate, because we see the effect that Cuban athletes and Cuban boxers have on the sport of boxing. They all become majority at the top become major players, right? Erislandy Lara, Luis King Kong Ortiz. Man, Luis King Kong Ortiz is 43, as is being reported, and he still have a hard time getting big fights. He has 2 big fights in his entire career, major fights where he had fights with Deontay Wilder for titles, right? 2 opportunities Deontay Wilder gave him to fight for world titles, right? He was knocked out brutally in both fights, but that's his only opportunities. Now he's on the verge of fighting former unified Mexican heavyweight world champion superstar boxer Andy Ruiz Jr. But even Andy Ruiz Jr., he attempted to maneuver around Luis King Kong Ortiz as best as he could, right? He attempted to, after knowingly signing a contract to fight Luis King Kong Ortiz September 4th, he attempted to sign to fight a UFC fighter, knowing that he was already committed to fighting Luis King Kong Ortiz. So he's having a hard time getting big fights. Erislandy Lara, he had a hard time getting big fights till he had the Canelo fight, but he did fight Paul Williams and names like that, but he got the short end of the stick in those situations. Guillermo Rigondeaux, he got his big opportunity against Nonito Donaire, and after he showed up and showed out against Nonito Donaire, his opportunities came slim and none in between that until he years later when he got a fight with Vasyl Lomachenko. So it was difficult for him to get fights. It's just the case because their skill set, their pedigree, their technical abilities, their fundamentals, those types of things, people shy away from that because it's hard to look good against them if you even win, okay? So if you do win, it's going to be hard, it's not going to be a pretty win. And if you do, then most likely you're going to lose, right? So like Canelo Alvarez with Erislandy Lara, majority of the boxing world felt like Canelo Alvarez lost that fight to Erislandy Lara. He got a gift, but this is what it is. So people think that Luis Ortiz was beating Deontay Wilder to the point where he got knocked out in both fights. So it just shows and proves just how good, fighters they are. So for Andy Cruz to be a 2-time Olympic gold medalist and beat the likes of Keyshawn Davis, who's viewed in very high standards in the United States in the sport of boxing, he beat him 4 to 5 times. That speaks volumes, okay? And so he could only be an asset, to the sport of boxing. But this is unfortunate news. So let's see how this plays out and unfolds. Hopefully it's not true. Hopefully, you know, he makes his debut here in the States, makes his way stateside, and able to feed